Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This time I'm going to be ranking Piggy chapters. I know I probably could have done this video a long time ago when Piggy was a lot more popular, but oh well, I'm doing it now. So I'm not going to try to waste much of your time, or at least I'll try not to. But yeah, here we go. Now you'd be thinking a lot about this chapter. It's the basic chapter of Piggy. So it's kind of simple at the same time. It's pretty fun to play, I mean, since it's the first chapter and it obviously has a lot of replicas from other Piggy games. It's pretty basic overall, so it's kind of fun, I'd say. Though not the most fun overall. There is a lot of lore to this. I mean, this is the chapter that starts Piggy. This isn't that hard to beat either. If you can memorize this, it's probably the easiest Piggy chapter to memorize if you play the first chapter all the time, of course. Like, heck, the keys are right there, the gears are over here, you know, it's kind of just not that easy, or not that hard to memorize, my bad. Overall, I think it's a very good chapter. This is the most iconic Piggy chapter, I'd say, honestly. It's very good overall. That's not just me biased either. The second chapter is Station. Station overall is a pretty fun map, and I honestly enjoy this chapter. There is a lot of lore to this too, so I'll take that into consideration, especially at the ending where you just drive off with Doggy. And this chapter isn't that hard to beat either, I'd say. Though there is the part where the acid, where the Piggy can just if it's a player, not a bot, then that means they can just go through the acid without having to worry about going through the plank first. So that means if you're playing with a player and they know the trick where they can actually just go into the acid as Piggy, they can probably beat you in this game. So I don't think that's the best. I'll lower it down to a good, but overall, this is not me biased too. I think it's a very great chapter. Now, Gallery is one that's a little bit more questionable, I'd say. I found this one to be a bit boring, honestly. There's not much lore to it, especially since I heard KreekCraft once say you could remove this chapter from Piggy, and it wouldn't make any difference at all. It is fairly beatable for Piggy and the player, but it's pretty easy for the player. However, if a Piggy places a trap on the stairs, they're basically done, so it can be better, honestly. If they remade this chapter and added, like, more lore and, like, a better, more expansive, like, environment, I could see it being higher, but overall, it's not the worst one. But it's definitely not the best one. Forest is an ew. I'm sorry, Forest. It's boring. There's not much lore to it other than the walkie-talkie with Mr. P kind of thing, but you don't discover that until next chapter, of course. And then it's pretty beatable, I'd say, just for both. But since it's like a wide, expansive map, there's not a lot of places for you to put your traps in as Piggy. And there's a lot of places they could just go hide in as the player. School is a chapter that just feels pretty weird to do, but it's a giant square. Players can roam around without the Piggy being able to catch them a lot. Though I can say there probably may be good places to put traps if you're in Piggy if this situation happens, like on the stairs and everything. But even then, it'd be like pretty equaled out for beatable. It's honestly kind of boring to me. I never really found it that good. And it does add a lot of lore, though, especially towards the Mr. P and Bunny situation, though. So, while I don't like it overall, I'm going to put it in good. We're going to be doing the hospital one next. This one is, once again, a giant open square. Players can go around without you being able to do much, of course. Overall, that just kind of adds it to be a little bit more boring, and honestly found this one to be forgettable, so I'm sorry. There is quite a bit of lore, though. Let me add on to that, by the way. Part where Mr. P, I think, leaves Bunny and you, where, he leaves them off. And then you have to, like, go back somewhere else to get around, I think. That's what I'm pretty sure this is. And at the beginning, this is where you would have passed out from the school map, of course. And, it's pretty beatable, but it can also have its downsides, like I said. One of the major downsides of this map is that the ending where, you have to place a plank down, and Piggy can come through and easily get you if you place it down because there's almost no room left. So with that, I'm going to put it in neutral. I never really found this map that enjoyable anyway, but oh well, that's probably me. The next chapter is Metro. This one I also kind of found to be like one of the most forgettable chapters out of all of them. Alongside Hospital, if I'm going to be totally honest. Players can camp down stairs in that area down where like they can just camp there and you basically can't do anything. As Piggy, I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah, that's kind of just the truth. If I'm being honest. I found this map to be pretty boring. There's almost nothing you can do, if I'm being honest, in this map. Maybe I could be wrong, though, but I just don't really like it. God, why am I stammering? However, there is a lot of lore to this, where Bunny has to unfortunately go. May she rest in peace. This map is honestly kind of 50-50 for beatable, I'd say. People would question how beatable this is, but as Piggy, and if you are Piggy, and players camp down, then that means you pretty much just have no choice but to give up, if I'm being honest. There's some good places to put traps as well, though, so that's a good sign. But overall, I'm going to put it in neutral. Oh, great. Look, we got Carnival up next. And this will be a pretty controversial one, of course. Carnival has always been one of the most hated chapters in Piggy, as far as I'm aware of, at least. Especially by, like, most people I've heard of, like, saying their own opinions on this, and actually how easy it is just for the players, and if you're Piggy, you're kind of just done. If they choose this chapter, which I know a lot of people do, it's over. I'm sorry, you're not winning as Piggy. But overall, let me just, get away from that, sorry. Let's get into the actual tier list. This chapter is not that fun. It's just simple. It's very simple, and I don't really like it. There is a lot of lore to this, though. This is where you get to meet Pony and Zizzy. That's kind of what uppens it up from everything else. And a lot of these other chapters, too, may not even have as much lore as this, and it actually adds to the story, especially for the Book 2 chapters as well. And overall, I'd say this is way too beatable for the players, and not that beatable for Piggy, so it can be better. The only reason why it's not an ill like Forest is just simply because, well, the lore. There's way too much lore in this. Some of this stuff I can't even like get out of my head. It's just a lot of lore that comes through. If you guys know what that is. If you ever play Carnival, just don't forget the lore. This adds a lot to the story. Next, we have City. City overall is one that I've never really liked, but overall I found it to be pretty boring, but because it's just like this is so dark, I've got to go everywhere, and it's not that much fun for me. I find it fun. I can find other people seeing this fun as well, but I don't really like it, to be honest. I found this impossible to beat a lot as well, because it's so hard. 2 bots chasing after you. I just found this so hard. The amount of times I died to both by trying to go either way into stuff, it's impossible for me. But I know other people like KreekCraft can manage to beat this, so obviously I can't get that out of the way. And overall, I would say this chapter has not too much lore, but quite a bit of lore. So I'm going to put it in very good. Even if I don't like it, I have to. And in fact, I think I'm just going to move school down back to neutral. Next we have Mall. Mall is just one of those chapters that kind of just is there. It's a big giant square where you can pretty much roam around without the Piggy being able to get you. That's why I find this to be way too beatable for players. Especially since there's like a lot of random places they can just hide. Like especially in the vent trick, which is annoying. I know a lot of people who've done that. So that's why I think this chapter is pretty just... It's not that much fun if the people just start doing random stuff and just... They can glitch into stuff and get out of the map. I find this map to be pretty boring overall. You can't really do that much as Piggy. Even if you can as player, it's probably unnecessary too. But overall, this chapter does have a lot of lore, like Carnival, which lifts it up. This is where you get to meet Georgie Piggy. So I'm going to put it in neutral. It's only better because Carnival lacks like a lot of the stuff Mall did. There's still a lot of glitches in Carnival too, but Mall actually adds to the rest of book 1, so yeah, this is just kind of it. And look what we have next. Outpost. This is a chapter I've never really thought about much, and I found this chapter to be absolutely impossible by doing it solo. Even if it is like one of the more liked ones by some people, I don't really like it that much. But overall, I'm going to put this in good. It is pretty fun to play, even if you're alone, though. Just try to like be skilled in this game. If you're not playing by yourself, it's pretty fun. And it does add a lot of lore. This is the part where Mr. P comes in and like everything else. It's like the climax of the entire book 1. I was not expecting this to happen throughout the entire chapter. Especially since I just thought Mr. P was gone. Alright, my bad. On to the next one. We're finishing up book 1 with Plant. Plant is probably one of the best maps of book 1. Probably the best, if I'm being honest. Overall, I think this is an addictively amazing chapter. Let me get this straight. It has a lot of lore. You can get the good ending, bad ending, or true ending. That adds a lot of lore to this. Especially the true ending where you actually have to work for that. That one's like crazy. I was not expecting that. People like trying to get everywhere, trying to think of all this. You know, it's just, oh my god. That true ending. How fun is it? Of course, it's pretty fun, I'd say. Actually, very fun. This chapter right here, even though you have to like go back and forth between stuff, that makes it kind of like a little bit more even and beatable for both the player and the piggy. So I think that equals out. Next is Alleys. This is one that I've never really liked that much because I found it impossible. However, I think it's not that bad. So, my honest opinion is that I found this very boring to beat. Like, this is just the first chapter of book 2. Like, are you kidding me? Why is it this boring? I found this chapter to also be very hard to beat if you're doing it solo. I cannot get past, like, a lot of the stuff until the ending where I had, like, maybe 1 minute left. So, if you're doing this solo, it's kind of hard. I'm being straight honest, for me at least. It's pretty hard doing it solo. But if you have other people that can help, that's great. And the lore in this as well is also like off the top. This is where you meet Willow and all this and Rash, and it goes crazy. So overall, I don't think it's really my type, but I'm going to put it in good for that. And let's just move on to store really quickly. This one, it has a lot of lore too. You leave the store, and I don't remember what happens after it, but it's just because I've been so long since the last played Piggy. It is pretty fun as well, and it's pretty like even for both people to beat. So I'm gonna put it in very good actually. Refinery is pretty good as well, I'd say. It is pretty hard. I admit doing this solo, you're not gonna be able to do it solo. I'm sorry, I could not. I mean, at least for me, you could probably do it. It's pretty fun, like exploring all the new map and everything. But I find it very hard. But that, I'm not being biased, though. And I'm sorry, but Safe Place is an chapter. I do not like Safe Place, and let me explain why. Safe Place has so many floors that you have to navigate through. So it's really like going back and forth between everything. That's part of the reason why I think it takes away all the fun. And even though it does have some lore in it, like leading to the next chapter of sewers and everything, I still don't think that adds up a lot. And I found this map to be extremely hard to beat solo, I'm gonna be honest. I could not do this without, like, something else helping me. Oh my god, I'm sorry if you like Safe Place, but I don't. Sewers, though, is addictively amazing for me. It's extremely fun. This is the time where they added patrol traps, my bad. So that the bot just doesn't chase you forever and know exactly where you are. And there's a lot of lore to this, which leads to Factory, and honestly, that one, it's the climax that leads up to Factory that I love. And then, I think it's fairly beatable as well, so it's addictively amazing. God, my stammering. Factory has Willow in it, so it's fairly fun with both. And since it's a giant square, I know people can roam around and everything. It's kind of hard to get everywhere, but overall, it's not too bad. I'm going to put it in neutral, though. It's just not really my type of map. It does add a lot of lore, though, with the 2 endings you can get. And, like, all the other stuff. But it's fairly hard to beat for me. I've tried doing this a lot, and I don't really think it's that easy for me. Maybe it can be easy for y'all, though. Chapter 7 is the port. Port I found to be pretty hard, though I got the hang of it later. So I'm going to put it in good, because this is the time where you get to meet Budgie at the very end. That adds some lore. And overall, I didn't find it to be that boring either, so that adds up. Same with ship as well. I can pretty much put everything that I said into port and ship. And same with docks, although the problem is I didn't find it as much fun, so I'm going to put it in neutral. Temple is very good, actually. This is one of like the few chapters you can actually get with like a lot of lore. Spadella is one of the best bots I've ever seen. Ravi is great too, and so is Kona. Camp, honestly, is one that I've never really played that much, but I found it to be very hard, pretty boring, but it does add a lot of lore, especially with Pony. So, Pony, Tigray, and Willow add up to the next chapter, which is Lab. So I'm going to put it in neutral. That's not biased, though. And Lab is obviously addictively amazing. I cannot stress how much this is addictively amazing. Though I found it to be pretty hard at some points, especially like the ending, where you get 4 different endings. That adds up to a lot of lore that you can get. It's very fun. The bot is like, it can even out, and yeah. Now as for these 3. Heist, I found to be, it can be better. I've only really played this like once at the time of its release because I didn't really have much time. And I found it to be very hard and very boring. And I don't really know how much lore it has. And the same with Distraction, I'll put that there. I don't really have a strong opinion on these 2, so y'all can disagree with me on this, to be fair. Distorted Memory is in neutral, though. Because, it does add some lore to Georgie Piggy, and I found it to be a little bit more fun than the others. It's fairly beatable, too, if you know what you're doing, of course. And this is my tier list, so don't get mad if you disagree with me, but I could probably care less a little. And, yeah, that's it.